everybody, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you guys are new. First off, I want to apologize about the awkward lighting situation. I actually am filming when it's completely dark outside because we did not have any sunshine for today, so I'm filming with all artificial lighting. So I have two little artificial lights right here, and then I have my vanity lights right here. So hopefully the lighting situation's okay and it doesn't bother you guys too much. As you guys can probably tell by the title of this video, today I'm going to be going over makeup artist tips and tricks over how to speed up your makeup application process. As a makeup artist, it's very helpful to be as quick and efficient as possible, just so you can first off take more clients, because if you can take more clients, it obviously means more money for you. And then also it just means that it makes your clients happier too, because not a lot of clients want to sit in the chair for 2 hours and get their makeup done, and most of the time you don't have time for that. As a beginner makeup artist, I know for sure that I probably took like maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours or something to complete a full face of makeup, and that's just on one person. It's very important to be detail oriented and very like anal about your work, but you want to make sure that you also are quick about it. Literally the number one rule for this is practice, practice, practice. I know you guys hear that all the time, but especially with makeup artistry, you really want to practice, and that's going to overall make your applications faster. But besides that, there are other helpful ways that you can speed up just a little bit quicker that you may not have thought about. So I'm just gonna go with my whole list of items right here. I have a list of 9 different things on here, I think, that I want to talk about. Hopefully I don't digress too much, because these could go into a whole entire other topic by themselves. But I'll probably try to be as concise and to the point as possible. So if you guys have any questions, definitely let me know those in the comments down below, and I would be more than happy to answer them for you. I'm not going in any particular order. I'm just going to literally go down the list that I have on this notepad, and we're going to get started here. So first off, organize your kit in the way that you work. So this is very, very important, and I'm probably gonna have to show you just so you guys kind of know what I'm talking about. Here is an overall setup of what my kit usually looks like. Usually it's kind of a condensed version of this if I have minimal room to set up in, but this is generally what I like to have it set up like. For my kit, I have it organized by how I usually work and the order that I usually do my makeup applications. So for instance, all my skincare stuff is right over here. These are also my sanitizing sprays over here. I like to do the skin prep first, so that's why I have it over here. And obviously you read left to right, so it's easier to kind of work this way, if that makes sense. And then next, I usually go on to eyes, but my eyes unfortunately don't fit over there, so I have to put them over here. But yeah, eyes and brows go next. So my brow powders are right here, and then my eye stuff is right here. And next, I go over to the face. So then I have all my foundations right here, and that also leads into contouring powders and everything. So I have highlight, blush, bronzers right here, more blushes right here, and then I also have foundation mixers right here. Then over here, I have foundation palettes, and then all my little cream palettes here. And then these are all my eye stuff as well. I have a whole bunch of like different eyeshadow colors, loose pigments, etc. And then these are all my face powders. As you can tell, I kind of like to organize my things based on the groupings that I work in. So like face, eyes, face, skincare, sanitizing products, and then I have all my lip liners right here. My concealers are right here, and then I keep extra foundation brushes here. This is another helpful tip as a makeup artist. Usually having clip-on brush belts like this that you can tie around your waist or something, or put over your shoulder, is most ideal, because sometimes you literally only have maybe like a TV tray to set up on or something and don't have room for all your brushes. So it's really, really handy to have it attached to you. That's just a helpful tip. Okay, hopefully that made sense to you guys. I was trying to kind of go along and explain it, and hopefully you guys got some visuals of how my kit's set up and everything. The second thing is kind of still dealing with your kit, but it's more so setting up in the right location and the most ideal location for you. First off, never ever set up in bathrooms. I don't know if I necessarily have to go over this, and it might seem like a no-brainer. Sometimes clients like to put you in bathrooms for some reason, just because you're most out of the way right there. But again, though, people are going to be taking showers, maybe going to the bathroom, washing their hands, doing all sorts of things, and then people are just going to be getting in your way the whole time. And also, it's not very hygienic. So just make sure you're not setting up in bathrooms anywhere. Make sure you have a lot of like space to move around and everything. Make sure you can go 360 around your client if you need to, and you're not, you know, shoved in a wall or pressed up against something else, or you're like in a plant somewhere, because that's happened to me. Also, just a helpful tip to go along with this, make sure that you have your client facing a light source. So usually this is preferably for me facing a window with natural daylight, but I do bring my Glamcor light with me as well, just in case I don't have daylight for some reason, because sometimes I start at like 5 o'clock in the morning and obviously the sun's not up then. So I usually have to bring some sort of artificial light source just with me and make sure my client faces it all the way. So you don't have to basically keep double checking to see if you got your foundation or concealer match right, because that wastes a lot of time. So just make sure that you have your client facing whatever light source that you have at the time. Next, this is one that actually took me a little bit to figure out. So you got to think about if you are right-handed or left-handed and which side you set up your kit on. So for instance, I'm right-handed. So usually I preferably like to set my kit up on the right side of me, just so I'm directly kind of like moving my body over to the right, and then I can just like reach toward my kit, if that makes sense. Whereas if I set it over to my left, then I kind of have to start reaching across my body or turn my whole entire body to get to my kit. So just make sure when you go into a room to set up, kind of be thinking about that in the back of your head if you don't just do it automatically. This tip is also with your kit as well. So make sure that you reset your kit after you're done with each client. This is a super, super helpful tip. Most people will kind of automatically do this. Not only does this look more professional, obviously, because your next client does not want to kind of go into a hurricane of a makeup kit and see that you're not completely sanitary. Obviously, your things will be sanitized, but if it doesn't look like you sanitize them and your stuff's just thrown all over the place, then they're not going to trust you as much. This is also very helpful for you too, to speed up makeup applications, because obviously if you're more organized, you know where everything is in your kit and you can easily grab from it, whereas if it's just tossed all over your station, you have no idea where you put it. Okay, next tip that I have is by pulling out products in advance. For instance, when you're doing a consultation with your client in front of you, and they tell you that they have oily skin and they tell you that they want a red lip, then you might just be pulling out those products in advance, kind of like a mattifying primer, your red lipstick that you think would look good on them, maybe a red lip liner, things like that, just so you kind of can like have those things already set aside on your mixing palette so you don't have to pull for those later. Also, if you just know that you have some sort of go-to items that you always put on your clients, for instance, I always put pretty much the same waterproof mascara on all my clients, so I'll make sure I have that out sometimes. And then I usually go for the same micellar water, because I always prep people's skin with micellar water first, so I usually pull that in advance. I always use the same Inglot 77 gel liner unless they want brown liner, and then I'll pull something else. But those are kind of just like my go-to products. So if you have go-to products like that you always use, you can always depot those in advance and then just put those on your mixing palette just so you have it ready for the next client. That'll save you tons of time. Next thing is very important as well. Make sure that you're always constantly moving. With this, I mean that you always want to be busy, so you never want to stop and just be doing nothing. For instance, I have a bad habit of stopping and literally directly just facing my client and having a full-blown conversation while I'm just standing with my products in hand and not doing anything. Talking literally wastes so much time and you don't even realize. You can waste like a half hour just standing there and talking to somebody just about your life, and if you have things in common with somebody, you can just get caught up in a conversation. Other makeup artists, please tell me down below if you guys struggle with the same thing, because I'm such a talkative person and I love talking to my clients and getting to know them. You obviously want to be as friendly as possible with your clients, but you don't want to be too much of a chatty Cathy to the point where it's basically hindering your work, if that makes sense. That's honestly a whole entire skill set on its own, is doing makeup simultaneously while you're talking. All right, so next thing is talking to your clients or consulting with them while you're cleaning up after your next person. For instance, say you're done completely with your last makeup appointment, so they leave your chair and then obviously you have a whole mess in front of you. You still have to clean your brushes, you still have to clean your makeup products and sanitize everything, and your next client sits down in your chair, right? So instead of you just doing nothing and just cleaning, consult with your client while you're cleaning up, so you're basically kind of being productive as you're cleaning up your products, if that makes sense. Next up is having duplicates of your favorite brushes or sponges. For instance, I have obviously all these brushes and everything, but my favorite brushes to use honestly are these Sigma brushes. I think they're the F75 brushes, I want to say, but I carry like 4 of them in here, but I probably should get more. I also have these Morphe lip brushes that I really like, and I carry duplicates of those as well because I know that those are always my go-to brushes. So instead of spending time cleaning the same brush, then you're basically just pulling new brushes every single time. Next on my list is doing eyes first. You might already naturally do this as well, but I do makeup applications in the same order that I do makeup on myself. I always do eyes first because of the fact that sometimes when you're doing really dramatic eyeshadow, smoky eyes, glitter, etc., even if you're doing sometimes like very natural makeup, most of the time you'll get some fallout underneath the eyes, and it's really handy to do eyes first because you can just go in with a makeup remover wipe or micellar water or something and just clean up right underneath the eyes without having to remove foundation and concealer that you possibly put underneath there before. You can be as messy as you want and then just clean up all your mess afterwards and then just do the face and then you're done. My next tip is using multitasking products. This means basically to use the same products for different purposes. So for instance, I usually like using concealer for eyeshadow primer, and you're only using and pulling one product for two purposes. And that really helps because then you don't have to be running around and trying to pull different products, whereas you can just use the same products for different things on your face. You can also use cream blushes, not only for blush obviously, but you can also use it for lip products as well. And then a lot of the times, lip liners can be formulated for eyeliners as well. You can also use bronzers for eyeshadows, things like that. So just so you're not basically grabbing as many products and having to kind of rummage around in your kit to find everything, sometimes things like that save you a little bit of time. I don't really use this tip very often because I do kind of just work really quickly naturally now, just from practicing over time. But for a newer makeup artist, this might be a thing that you kind of want to pick up as a skill, because I feel like if I had learned this and kind of ingrained this in myself earlier on, I probably would be a lot better at multitasking, honestly. Okay, I think that is it for my tips. Hopefully you guys learned a lot from this video. The takeaway from this video that I basically want you to understand is use these tips, but also make sure that you practice them. And practice just makeup applications in general, because you're gonna obviously get faster as you keep doing makeup applications. As I said before, I started out doing makeup applications in about an hour and a half to 2 hours, which was a really long time for makeup applications. And now I can get my makeup applications down to 35 to 45 minutes, depending on the intensity of the look. So yeah, just practice makes perfect. And you literally can just get quicker and quicker as you just do makeup applications, and even pull people aside and try to time yourself. That's also a tip as well, just as like a side note. But anyways, hopefully you guys are having an amazing day, and I will talk to you guys in the next video. All right, bye.